Hello everyone, I'm Joel Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television, presenting a few takes on candidates running for school board this year. I'm asking all the candidates the same questions so that you, dear viewer, would get a chance to know them before the election. Now, about the election, ballots are being sent in the mail this week of April 15th. So if you don't get one by this Friday or so and you really want to participate, please call the school district. The number is 406-728-2400, and make sure you get a ballot sent to your home because they're due on May 7th. There are 2 open seats for the school board, and there's 4 candidates. You're also going to see 2 levies the school is asking for, and you'll probably see some justification or reasons for it. Also on our channel, you can see my interview with Superintendent Micah Hill, who details what those levies are about. Anyway, I would like to introduce Jenny Walsh. Jenny, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome here in our beautiful studio in the library. So here's your first question. What inspired you to run for Missoula County School Board?
So I actually was asked to run by, at first, friends at book club, and then I talked to Grace Decker, who is one of the board members stepping back. And the more we talked about the role, it just felt like a really great fit. I have a background in special education, and I have 3 kids in the district right now. I volunteer twice a week at Paxton Elementary, so I'm in the schools a lot, and you know, I have a real passion for education, so my family is just delighted that I have this potential new outlet.
Right.
So yeah, it just feels, the more I've dug into the role, the more it just feels like, you know, a great fit. Yeah.
Okay, here's your second question. Describe the school district as you see it and what you like about it and what you would like to improve upon.
Oh my gosh, well, I'm in the schools every week and I see just the most vibrant educational setting. We have the most wonderful teachers who create these magical lessons in their classroom. They weave social skills into science lessons and just really masters of the craft. We have so many volunteers, so many senior citizens working in the halls with kids, sitting on the floor, you know, giving kids that eyeball-to-eyeball time that they're aching for, that connection with special grown-ups. Yeah. Really thoughtful administrators. So I just see a really wonderful school district that's fantastic to be a part of. I do see, you know, teachers in Montana, educators, are paid, we're 51st in the nation for teacher pay.
That's kind of at the bottom, you mean?
We're lower than Puerto Rico.
I see.
So, you know, what happens is we're creating these fantastic educators at the university. I got my master's at the University of Montana, and we have, you know, they're just, they can't afford to work in Montana. So we're doing this great service for Wyoming and Washington, but our educators can't afford to stay and work here. And I think, you know, really valuing our educators through higher pay is something that the state as a whole, I'd like to see that addressed.
Gotcha. Now, if you were elected to the seat on the school board, what do you imagine you like most about the job?
Okay, I love meetings. I could sit and listen. So I've been sitting in school board meetings or as part of the audience for the past couple meetings, and they're such a thoughtful, deliberative body. You know, it's often that it's hard. I think one of the hardest parts is there's not always the perfect solution. And sometimes you have to choose between a couple harder options. But watching this wonderful body deliberate has been really interesting and something I'm excited to be a part of.
Oh, that's great. That does put you in the minority.
I know. I've sat in IEP meetings in almost every school in the district. And, you know, anytime we can come together and talk about how to better tend to our children, I'm always interested in that conversation.
Great. Now, the dark side. What would you like least about it, at least as you imagine it?
I think those are the times that, especially this year, having to make budget cuts that impact families and students and our educators. Those are those hard times that there's just not a great solution to choose,
Well, did you campaign a lot? I have to admit, you're the first person I've seen their sign. Over the weekend, it was so nice. I was biking around. I was like, Jenny Walsh, that's the first sign I've seen for school board. But the question is, what have you learned about Missoula while campaigning or, putting the idea forth?
Yeah, one of the things I really like, and I'm hoping to bring to the table on the school board, is a little bit more transparency of the whole process. So on social media, I've been trying to recap board meetings or, share information about the levies and why they're so important to pass. And so I'm hoping my signs, people see the social media and go there for, to feel like they're in the loop. I think when the community feels like they know what's going on and they know how that they can share their voice and opinions, then decisions feel like a community decision and not something that's been,
coming out at them.
Yeah. So campaigning, I've loved it. I am meeting so many people. One thing, I'm learning so much, and one of the things I've learned is that, a lot of people in Missoula that I've talked to just don't realize how much of an impact that state senators and House district representatives have on their everyday lives in Montana, and how important those state level politics are in things like school budgets. So as I'm learning more of that, I've been trying to spread the word of how important those state level elections are. Because, you can only do so much as a district. Our district really needs, and all the districts in Montana really need more funding coming in from the state level.
Gotcha. So for Missoula, the region, and it's pretty big, like I've pointed out to a number of people on Friday, the two candidates that came, how impressed I am that Seeley Lake or Seeley, district is part of the Missoula County. So this question is to describe some of Missoula's strengths and weaknesses being such a large district.
The strengths. So I've tried to find a better place to live. We lived in Missoula for a decade. We moved away for my husband to do some schooling. And we could have gone anywhere. And I checked. I really looked everywhere at any other cool place. Yeah. And nothing is as good as Missoula. There is such a genuineness of people that are attracted to live in Missoula. It's so easy to connect with people. There's so much room to be yourself, to be, unique. And then that makes room for everyone else to be their greatest selves. So I just think Missoula, I could go on and on about the strengths. Weaknesses, I think, we've been discovered as such a cool place. And I think we've grown so quickly, and that comes with challenges. Cost of living is up, and it's hard for young families to afford to live here. So, that results in it's hard to find a workforce that can afford to live here. And it's hard for because it's so hard for young families to, move in, then we have a declining enrollment in our schools. Yeah. And then we have reduced funding, so I think, we're so great, but then word gets out.
Well, you're up to the last one. Closing thoughts on your campaign, being on school board, whatever you want to reflect.
Well, the more I've dug into the role, the more I just love it. I love serving the community in this way. I used to work at the Child Development Center, and I'm a nonprofit girly at heart. So this is just the perfect fit for my life, and I feel like I am a really great fit to serve Missoula in this way. So I'm really enthusiastic about the role. I'll keep going to board meetings no matter what. So.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just excited. I love education. I love public education. I loved being an educator. I love being around educators. I think Missoula has some of the coolest kids around. You know, I live right in the university district where all the Hellgate students walk past my house. So I
Quite a
get
crew.
I get to interact with them all the time. And, you know, I think the kids are all right. They're so engaged. You know, I have a lot of hope for the future.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Jenny. So once again, we've been visiting with Jenny Walsh. She is a candidate for Missoula County School Board. And you are a potential voter, dear viewer. You should be getting a mail-in ballot this week of April the 15th. If you don't, please call the district 406-728-2400 to sort out how you can participate in a fairly important school board and levy election. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to watch our segment on school board. For MCAT, I'm Joel Baird. Thanks for watching.